Well, the New South Wales Liberal Party has copped a highly deserved defrocking. Late yesterday, the Federal Liberal Party forced a 10-month takeover of the New South Wales branch following the debacle where they failed to submit nominations for 140 candidates in 16 local council elections. When you say it out loud, it sounds even more shocking. The Federal Executive has requested the appointment of a 3-member committee made up of former Liberal ministers to replace the current state executive, with President Don Harwin also to be ousted from his role. Now, to wade through what is clearly Liberal carnage, let's bring in expelled Liberal member and businessman Matt Camenzuli. Matt famously took the former Prime Minister Scott Morrison on. He took him to court over his pathetic handling of Liberal pre-selections leading up to the last federal election. Matt Camenzuli, welcome back to ADHTV. Did this surprise you?
Well, it's always fun to be here, Chris. No, look, I mean, nothing surprises me with the state of New South Wales anymore. It's an unusual thing in intervention. They don't happen very often, sort of a handful in history, certainly in New South Wales, sort of 2.5. I think this is the second. Then there was that sort of one with Morrison that we sort of stopped. So not surprised, I guess, more shocked and sort of just, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
Who would have driven this, Matt? Was it Peter Dutton?
Look, I think if we want to really look back at the sort of circumstances that have driven this, I think there's been some pretty rampant factionalism that's been going on inside of the party for the last decade. A couple of us got on state executive a little while back, and there's a little bit in the papers about that particular period, because what started happening then was a lot of people were starting to say, no, enough's enough, enough's enough. We've got to start focusing on members. We've got to start focusing on Liberal policy. We've got to start to get the place back to where it should be as an organisation. And slowly but surely, over time, more and more and more people started to see the efficacy in that. And there are some really great state executive members on that state executive that have been really holding this I think, grubby, feckless, factional system to account. And I think they just pushed so hard and they went so crazy, these factional people, that they actually they just blew themselves up. It was always going to happen at some point, Chris. It was always going to happen at some point. It just so happens that it happens under Don Harwin, the illustrious Don Harwin.
Well, let's stick on that theme. Let's stick on that for a second. I have a feeling that arrogance has played a role here. Arrogance in terms of the state executive thinking that they can take the party against the wishes of the membership and supporters in the public, take the party to a place that looks more like Labor light, and at the same time have an arrogance about the way they would logistically handle the candidates sitting for these elections for local government. Arrogance gets you in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, I think that's been a big part of it. I mean, even when I was in the party and on the executive, there was a real sense that somehow the hawk-aligned / centre-right / moderate community, left-wing community inside of the Liberal Party had a better sense of the electorate and, a greater purchase on leadership and was so much more professional and so much more amazing, and everybody else was just an anathema to decency. But really the sort of people that they don't like are the sort of people that I want to vote for, that I think you'd want to vote for, and that Liberal voters want. So there's a mismatch between what's in the head of these left-wing Liberals and what is in the heart of the Liberal voter.
Spot on.
And those two things, there's such a chasm between them now that it's bizarre, right? Like there's a sense of entitlement, but there is an arrogance. And you know what? They suck. They're so bad at it. They are just so very bad at it. I wish they weren't. I wish. I love the Liberal Party. I wish it was working, but it's busted.
I think we should stop the interview right there. I think we should stop the interview right there because I've got what I wanted. They suck. That is a beauty. Listen, the 3-member committee, this is quite fascinating. What do you make of who's been sought to do this job? former Minister Rob Stokes included?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, there's a bit of a story I've heard about that in the last sort of couple of hours.
Right.
And it's this. So in order to be as convivial as possible, because getting a federal intervention on, right, it's like trying to catch a unicorn and put a saddle on it, and feed it some marshmallows. Really hard thing to do. I think Dutton's doing the right thing. I do. But it's difficult. So in order to do this in sort of what looks to be a more convivial way, he's engaging Speakman. I think he's given Speakman the opportunity to put somebody on that panel so that he's got, some representation in this administration.
Right.
Fair enough. He's a state leader. So I think that was Speakman's task. Speakman, I think I heard, told Stokes, "Oh, look, do you want to be part? There's something going on. Do you want to be a part of it? Some sort of committee or something. Would you like to advise it?" And I think he said yes. And then when he found out he was made administrator, he said, "I didn't sign up for that." What? So I think this falls on Speakman, and he's trying to blame Dutton, of course, because he's trying to say, "Well, you didn't do your job." Wait on a minute. I don't think that's right. In typical moderate fashion. In typical left-wing fashion, they didn't do their job right.
So they can't even clean up properly. Anyway, the fact that you would choose three men and not a woman in a panel of three is not such a great idea, considering how crucial the female vote is to the Liberal Party.
Yeah, look, that's always a hard one, Chris. I don't purport to have all the answers in that space, but I would say this. I think they've gone for wisdom over window dressing. So they've gotten some elder statesmen from interstate. It's a difficult thing to do this, an intervention. A lot of people, doesn't matter what faction they're in, doesn't matter if they're unaligned, there's going to be some sense of imposition here. There's going to be some sense that what was understood yesterday, what was a certain set of rules yesterday, it's all very different today. And it happens very quickly. And I think you want to get some elder statesmen, or stateswomen too, but certainly elder statesmen, people from out of the state, probably not Stokes because he didn't want the job. But yeah, look, I mean, the opportunity was to put a woman in if they wanted to. But I think it's more in this particular case about getting some people that were distant from New South Wales, will come with a renewed perspective and are elder statespeople.
All right.
Because it really is a delicate thing.
Okay, my whispers from Canberra today have suggested to me that the feds did not step in purely because of this stuff-up, that this stuff-up was purely the straw that broke the camel's back. Is that possible?
Look, I think, as I was saying earlier, Chris, I think it's a long line, a repeated pattern of bad behaviour, of incompetence, look, there's all sorts of problems inside of that division. You've got, I believe, and this is just my view, that there's some corruption in the place. I think there's been some corruption of process. I think that, they're letting the NRC processes have certainly been corrupted. So, the nomination reviews where good people like Noel McCoy and Paul Nettlebeck and others have been sort of set aside before they can even face a pre-selection.
Yep.
But, other people who, even some with charges against them potentially, well, certainly not at the time, but certainly rumours of getting through. There's all sorts of problems. This isn't just that one incident, but that incident has been, that incident has been the thing that really demonstrated to everybody just how bad it is. You can't miss it. You can't miss it.
A massive straw that did break the camel's back. You took Scott Morrison to court for taking control of pre-selections and handling it badly. Why is this different?
Okay. This is a members-led. I'm told, and I believe Peter Dutton is doing it this way. I believe the guys that are telling me this at their word. I believe this is membership-led and membership-focused intervention. In other words, to get democracy into the place, to actually intervene on behalf of the members against what is a regime that has held its hand firmly on the till for so long. Whereas with Morrison at that time, that was more of a double down against the members.
Sure.
If you remember, we were trying to stop captains' picks, not pre-selections.
Yep.
These guys don't like pre-selections. I think Peter Dutton does. I think he wants to see the membership invigorated. This is about membership and members, not about the vested interests and the factions. That's the difference.
Let's hope you're
does
right.
That make sense?
Let's hope you're right.
Yeah.
Where to now, though, Matt, for the party in New South Wales? This has tarnished the brand immensely, and it will remain that way, so tarnished, for quite a while.
Yeah, look, I think there's an opportunity if the intervention is done well and the right people are engaged and it's done with the best of intentions and the right intentions, because there are a lot of frustrated members. The membership has been slowly dwindling over the last few years, Chris. It's not just a last-minute thing, right? When I was on executive, I think there were about 15,000 members, which is low, really. But, it's a massive state, and we've only got 15,000 Liberal Party members. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They've thrown out some since then. But I think it's down to below 7,000 now. I might even be nudging 5. I mean, that's existential. If you keep going in the direction that it's been going, it's over.
Yeah.
So if they do this properly and they really give it a shot in the arm, you might find that it'll be a resurgence of membership and the brand gets fixed up very quickly, because good members bring more good members, bring more friends, and you very quickly turn these things around. I don't think this has been an accident of the left, of the moderates. I don't think they care if they win elections. They just want control of the party. They've done their dash. I think the average punter now has had about enough of it. And I think that this is the sort of thing that could actually show that it's heading in a new direction and very quickly reinvigorate it. And I'm very hopeful. I hope that's what happens, because I can't bear the thought of another term of Anthony Albanese.
Your appraisals on this carnage in New South Wales have been sharp and they've been honest. And thank you very much for being part of the program, Matt.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Much appreciated. Matt Camenzuli, there you have it. Where will it go to next? He's fairly optimistic. Let's keep our fingers crossed for the state of New South Wales and the people of New South Wales that he's on the money.